What's going on, everybody? Come back for part 2 of your first family camping trip. Alright guys, this is part 2. How's my outdoor crew doing? This is my part 2 of the first family camping trip. And we're going to cover the last bits and pieces to get your kids, wife and kids out in the woods, or get your husband out in the woods for the first time. I did say that because there's probably some guys that have never been camping before, but their wives have. So anyways, so the next thing you got to worry about, we discussed in the first video. We'll do a real quick recap where we're going. We're going to AYZ Park, State Park, where we want to go hiking. We're going to do maybe a little canoeing in the afternoon, and then games around the campsite for the kids. We're going to delve into the food first, then we'll get into the other stuff. Now, this is where it can also be the most, the biggest downer of a camping trip outside of the weather is bad food, and it can happen. So, number one, if you're taking anything that has to be cold, you have to take a big cooler. You want to keep that sucker good and ice down, especially if the temperatures are starting to get up, warm enough that it would melt that ice pretty rapidly in the cooler. So you want to get a good cooler. Now, I'm not saying you have to jump out and get a Yeti. Do not go doing that, people. I don't want you going out there buying the most expensive gear, and all of a sudden you've got $3,000 wrapped up in gear just to take family camping. Start out as cheaply as you can, but getting good decent gear. There is nothing wrong with a Coleman cooler. There is nothing wrong with it. My one I've got now, I've been using for the last 2 or 3 years, is a Coleman that's on wheels. It's a big cooler. It'll hold a gallon of milk. It'll hold a gallon of sweet tea. It'll hold all your food with no problem. One of the things I will suggest, if you've got a store that sells dry ice near you, put a thing of dry ice in the bottom of the cooler. One day I will do a video showing how that works. But the dry ice will help keep everything colder longer on top of regular ice, but there's a way of doing it. So we're going to plan our food out. You can keep it as simple as you want to, which sometimes that is the way to go when you're going car camping for the first time, is keep it simple. Keep it to what you know how to do and what you can do. But there are, and I'm going to tell you guys, get on Pinterest. If you're not on Pinterest, get on Pinterest. There's some amazing things on Pinterest. The breakfast taquitos. I have actually done these many times camping. And it's so easy just to get your tortillas, sausage links, and scramble up some eggs, and you've got a handheld breakfast that you can sit there and hold around the campfire, warm it up from the night. And it's easy and it's quick. Sometimes that's one of the things you want to look at. And it depends on how you get in with your camping. You want it as easy as possible. For instance, these campfire cones. These are pretty cool. I've done these too. You can do, as you can see, if I can get my computer to work, basically bananas, raspberries, chocolate, marshmallows, and you put them in an ice cream cone, wrap them in aluminum foil, put them near the fire for just a couple minutes so it melts all that stuff into yummy goodness. Boom, you've got something. Basically what I did on Pinterest is just typed in camp food. There's a lot of recipes on here. There's a lot of things to do. But keeping it simple for your first camping trip, cooking, you can do a lot of it just on the grill that's there. I will highly recommend that you wrap your grill with aluminum foil, or put aluminum foil on top of it. And if you get the Reynolds wrap that is the non-stick, that stuff works great. That's the best thing they've ever come out with. So, if you have these phobias about germs and stuff, even though you're burning, hot fire, kill anything that's there, but you still got that little bit of security for yourself. Grilling hamburgers, hot dogs, that kind of thing. There's nothing wrong with that. There's not a thing wrong with that. If you can do it at home, you can do it out in the wood. You can do it out in the campsite. There's all kinds of hacks and tricks and ways of doing things so that you're not taking everything's packaged and all that stuff. So you're going to have hamburgers one night. Well, you get however many hamburger patty or you can make up your hamburger patties before you go, bag them up, have them in the cooler. They're ready to go. You don't have to really do any prep. For instance, like this one where they took the fruit and put it in the baggies, you put that in the cooler. There's snacks for the kids. But you can get as overbearing as possible with this stuff. Because trust me, I've got a chug box that I put together for camping trips, car camping trips. And when I broke that out on the first camping trip I ever went with my buddies, they were like, dude, you've got everything in that box. I said, you got that right, because I've done it. I know what you need. But you can do it without all of that. If you need a bottle of ketchup, get the smallest bottle possible. Or when you go to your local fast food joint, grab a couple extra packs of ketchup every time. Well, you can build up enough ketchup or mayonnaise or mustard that you can take with you camping. That's just a little hack there, guys. So preparing your breakfast, your lunch, and lunches, you can do sandwiches. If you've got a busy day planned, you're going to go fishing in the morning and canoeing in the afternoon, or hiking in the morning and canoeing in the afternoon. You want something quick? A sandwich, a ham sandwich, or a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Just something light. You don't have to make it, astronomical. You don't have to put on production. And so anyway, suppers. Now usually dinners, suppers, like I said, you can do the hot dogs, hamburgers, and all that stuff. If you want to go and do one pot camping meals, look at there on Pinterest. Using a cast iron skillet. You know how big a fan I am of cast iron. If you've got a cast iron skillet, look at click on this. There's 16 one pot camping meals you can make. If it's kind of a cool weather, big old pot of chili. What more can you ask for? Sit around the campfire eating a big pot of chili to warm yourself up before you go to bed. And let me throw that in there too. A snack before bed is a good thing. Everybody tells you don't eat before you go to bed, but when you're camping, eating before you go to bed can help. The reason why I say that, especially if it's cool weather, your body burns fat while you're sleeping, and with having that extra little bit of oomph in there, it keeps you warmer at night. So, and also drink water. I can't emphasize that enough. Even if you're just sitting around camp a lot, you're not doing anything, just hanging out, you still need to drink water. It takes it out of you. So plan your menus out. You can probably I know you can go on the internet and find a list on preparing a menu, or you can sit down with a sheet of paper, just as easy. Plan out what you're going to have. Sit down with the family. What do you want to eat? Because that, like I said, that can be the biggest killer of a camping trip outside of weather, is bad food and not the right food, or not knowing how to cook it. Sorry. If you're going to take a stove with you, a Coleman stove, or any kind of stove with you, practice at home, outside. I will repeat, practice cooking on the stove outside. Do not fire up a Coleman stove in your kitchen. Okay? Period. Don't do it. Use that thing outside. Practice cooking on it before you go. There is fine tuning to that thing when you're cooking, because you can get too hot a heat and you'll burn everything you got. Too low, well, you never can really get too low on a Coleman stove. You're usually having to back it way down just to keep from burning everything up. So you need to practice that. It is a fine art to cooking on those darn things. So the next thing you really have to prepare for is your camping gear checklist. And I will leave a link. You can go on the Pinterest and find them. I'll leave a link to a good one. That way you can print it out and take it with you. That way you know what you're taking. Of course, tents, sleeping bags, pillows. And I urge you, for the kids, get them a pillowcase just for camping for their normal pillow. Trust me on this one, guys. If not, let them pick a good camp pillow. Okay? I can have the worst sleeping bag with me ever, but if I've got the right pillow with me, I don't care. I can get warm enough and I can get cool enough. But if my head is not right, if not laying right, then I'm uncomfortable. So, coolers, once again, I do urge you to take something to keep water in. You can get even the plastic fold-up water containers that holds 5 gallons of water. Keep that close to the campsite because you're going to need it. Portable stove, firewood. Remember what I said about the firewood in the state parks? Some states don't allow it. You have to buy the wood on site or burn what's around. Lighters, utensils, pots and pans. Once again, I combine that into a kit. One day I'll show you my kit, how it's put together. Raincoats, just in case, because you know we've tried to plan this where it's not going to rain, but God, Mother Nature strikes. Jackets, make sure you take good jackets with you. Bathing suits, that's only, I mean, wear a bathing suit or some kind of swim pants. If you're canoeing, it tips over, you're going to get wet. So it could happen. Sunglasses, hiking shoes, tennis shoes. Okay, here's where I'm going to go with this. I'm a very big believer when camping, no open toe shoes. They slammed that into us as a scout. We slam it into them. I don't let my kids wear any open toe shoes when we're camping. Now, I do have the closed toe, it's kind of a water shoe or camp shoe that the rest of it's kind of open in the back. But until you've had a stick go into a toe, under a toenail, don't want that. So, I'm going to say if you're going to do a bunch of hiking, definitely have some good hiking shoes with you, hiking boots. You can get away with just good tennis shoe or a CrossFit shoe, hiking some of the smaller trails out there. That's not a problem. Clothes, layers. Let's make sure we have layers on clothes. Make sure you have a cool layer and a warm layer. Even okay, let's think about this on camping. Say it's going to be 70 degrees that day, 71 degrees. It got up 71, it felt great outside. But guess what? It gets down to 50 degrees that night. That's a 20-degree drop. And if you've been outside all day, a 20-degree drop, you'll get chilly. You know, so you definitely want the fire going. You want your next layer you can put on to stay warm. Flashlights. All right, here's something I'm going to throw at you. Flashlights are necessity at night. You can also use your glow sticks to mark your campsite out a little bit if you want to. But I'm going to tell you something that I have used over the years. It's probably the next best thing is a good headlamp. If you're having to work around the campsite, a good headlamp comes in handy. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I do not discourage you from buying these Energizer brand headlamps at all. This headlamp, I mean, even though it doesn't stay completely shut, still works. This headlamp is the first headlamp I ever bought, and I haven't done anything to it since I've owned it. Now I think, let's see, yeah, there's the red lights. I prefer red light at night. I don't like white light, but now I know it's hard for some of the kids to get into the white light or get into the red light, but your eyes don't have to adjust. Where is that? Don't have to adjust to the white light or red light as much as it does with white. I'm really getting that into. But then what I'm saying is a good headlamp for the people working around camp a little bit at night goes a long way. That way you've got both hands free. Lanterns. All right. If you use battery lantern, good for you. You know, that's fine. I use battery lanterns too. It's not out here right now because I actually put it up. Any kind of electrical lamps that you want to use, that's cool too. I use the propane lanterns also. Matter of fact, I have 3 propane lanterns that I've accumulated over the years, and they all work. I've even got the Walmart brand and I've got Coleman brand, and they all work, and they work just the same. Toilet paper. Bring you some extra toilet paper, because I have been in state parks where there was no toilet paper in the bathroom. Toothbrush and toothpaste. I'm going to expand on that. Of course, you got your soap and shampoo and conditioner down here, deodorant. Just bring your normal hygiene stuff with you. Because, you know, yeah, you're still going to stink, but if you can clean up a little bit, you stink less. Hats. We talked about food, plates, napkins, extras for the kids. Portable potty, that's not really a big thing, because if you're camping at a campground, usually there's a bathroom pretty close to you. Blankets for your animals. That's another thing. Bring a dog. That's something else you need to check. Make sure you can bring animals to these campgrounds. If you can, good wool blanket for your dog, or you don't take cats camping, I don't think. But people bring their dogs. You're camping in a tent, your dog's staying in with you, give them a nice wool blanket to sleep on. Or bring their bed, whatever. In mini day pack, I mean, this is a sample list, and it's a really simple list. There's a lot more stuff you can do. Matter of fact, I will link a copy of something like this one at the bottom of this video too, so you can take a look at some lists. So anyway, that's just some of the things, and I will add on to this real quick. For the kids, especially the little kids, get them some camp toys. Now I say get them some camp toys. If, say a little girl, for instance, my daughter, she's a true girl. She likes her Barbies. She plays with her Barbies, a lot less than she used to. But when we went camping, her Barbie had a sleeping bag of its own. It had a lantern. I think it had a little tent that we set up inside our tent. So it slept in its tent, in its sleeping bag right beside her. Pretty cool. So yeah, bring them some toys they can play with, because I mean, there will be downtime when you're cooking that you want them doing something, but you don't want them wandering. Bring your scooters. If the park allows it, bring their scooters, their bicycles, so they can ride. A lot of them will say, though, if they're a certain age, that you have to be with them when riding the bike. Well, that's fine. Let mom go ride the bikes with them while dad cooks outside, or vice versa, whoever's the good cook out there. So anyway, that's all I've got for this one. That pretty much wraps up Get You Camping. The very last video, I was going to make this a 2-parter, but I think I'm going to make it a 3-parter. The last video is going to be going over some more advanced preparation. Say you're on your 3rd trip. And I'll tell you, I will say this, as you do these trips, you're going to find things that you're going to say, I wished I had this. And I'm going to show you some ways of having that. Especially even cook a mess kit, chug box type deal. And I'll show you kind of an inexpensive way of doing it, to have that extra stuff with you that you never thought about until you realized you didn't have it. All right, guys, that's Patrick Mid-10 Outdoors. I hope this has been helpful. If you use all this information and you get your family out camping, I want to know about it. Whether you tag me in a video where you actually go camping, or you tag me somewhere, whether it be on Instagram or whatever, I am on Pinterest. So look for me on Pinterest. All right, guys, that is it. If there's anything else you want to know, leave it in the comments below, and I'll do a separate video on that. But that's going to wrap this one up for now. So be prepared.